What's up, my fellow horror comrades? Slasher movie reviews here to give you the top 10 best horror movies of 2013. Now, 2013 was actually a pretty phenomenal year for horror movies, so I'm super excited to bring you this list, you guys. So without further ado, let's begin. Also, you guys, I'm a U.S. citizen, so therefore I'm going off of U.S. release dates with these films. Coming in at my number 10 spot, I have Guillermo del Toro presents Mama. Flawed, yes, but Mama is still a good, spooky, chilling, run-of-the-mill ghost story that boosts some pretty good scares. Not only that, it's led by some great performances from Jessica Chastain and these little kids. Also, can we not forget, this movie came out in January, and for a January horror movie release, you better take this and run. In number 9, I have the I'm Surprised It Didn't Suck, Curse of Chucky. Curse of Chucky was a return to form for the Child's Play franchise. What they did here was they simplified it, and by simplifying it, they made it so much better. Chucky is just in this house, and he's doing what he does best in this film. Not only that, this film does pack a couple of few scary moments, but what really makes this film memorable is just how much fun it is, especially in that last act. And the winner for the coolest premise for a horror movie has to go to my number 8 pick, The Purge. Now, The Purge was such a cool premise, and I like the way it was executed. Plus, Ethan Hawke and Lena Headey are great in this film. While the little kid does make a few really bad decisions from time to time, I still had a very fun, intense ride throughout this entire film that kept me engaged and hooked the entire time. And it's definitely a film that I would be proud to have in my horror collection. Landing in my number 7 spot, I have the remake of Carrie. Now, while it falters a little bit for being a remake, it's still a well-executed remake that boosts terrific performances from Chloe Grace Moretz and Julianne Moore. Not only that, I love how this film addresses real-life high school issues that brings up this great question as to what is Carrie really about. Also, the revenge sequence that this film is leading up to is brilliantly crafted. It has some great shocking moments in this film from female director Kimberly Peirce. My number 6 film is probably the most demented film I saw of 2013, and that was the remake of Maniac. What has been seen cannot be unseen. This film is awesome, though. It is so brilliantly crafted, though, so demented and twisted. It really puts you in, like, the first-person perspective of the killer, and that makes for a very unsettling film to sit through, and it's just so disturbing, and Elijah Wood is terrific in this film. If you've ever wondered what would happen if Frodo Baggins kept the One Ring, you need to watch Maniac. Landing in my number 5 spot, I have VHS 2. Now, while the first one was kind of a hit and miss with me, this sequel is superior in almost every way. Each short film is great on its own terms. Not only that, but it gives what I believe is probably one of the scariest short films I've seen in a very long time, entitled Safe Haven. I still have nightmares over that short film. Those images, I can't get them out of my head. They're that terrifying for me. Coming in at number 4, I have Insidious Chapter 2. This was the first horror sequel in a very long time where I didn't feel like I was watching a sequel but a Chapter 2. There actually feels like there's a significant reason why we needed a sequel, that there was truly more to the story we needed to know. Not only that, but this film is directed by James Wan, and James Wan knows horror. This film is jam-packed with some terrifying moments, jump out of your seat scares, but the best thing about this film is the storytelling here. The story is so brilliant. How it weaves itself into the first film and connects it is so good. Now, I'll always have a soft spot for my number 3 film, Evil Dead. This was an experience. Let me tell you, when you see your face in a TV spot, it's a little overwhelming. But it was an experience nonetheless, just like this film. I had such a wonderful experience sitting in a theater, watching all this practical effects to the heavens galore of all this blood and guts, and it was playing to my good old bloody heartstrings. I had such a fun time watching this film, just as much as I believe they had such a fun time paying respects to what makes Evil Dead, and they do such a fine job here that's why I truly love this remake. And my second favorite horror movie of 2013 is You're Next. This film was created for horror buffs, and horror buffs are going to freaking love this film because You're Next is so in on itself, and you know exactly what type of film you're in for. It's so relentless, but so much fun to watch. It's one of those horror films that'll have you standing up out of your seat, cheering with it, and screaming at the screen. It's just a lot of fun here. And not only that, but Shawnee Vincent plays a very strong female character, and You're Next has some great kills. And the best horror movie of 2013 is The Conjuring. This film is terrifying, and there are so many endless scares in this film that'll have you up out of your seat, levitating and screaming your heads off from how terrifying this film is. But it's director James Wan, who's the star of this film, who makes this film truly work so well. The Conjuring is one of the scariest modern horror films to come out in such a long time. And it's one of those films that really resonates with you long after it's over. And when you're back home, I won't be surprised if you're checking underneath your bed to just make sure everything's okay. And that's a wrap. So there were the top 10 best horror movies of 2013. 2013 was such a great year for horror movies, probably even one of the best years for horror movies in quite a few years, actually. I love 2013 so much that I'm actually going into 2014 with lower expectations because I just don't think they'll be able to top this year. But you never know. But what were your personal favorite horror movies of 2013? Leave them in the comment section below. And until next time, you guys, I'm the Slash Movie Reviewer, and you guys have just been slashed. Matter of fact, I would even make a statement by saying some of these horror movies that came out this year... Not now, Sherlock! Hold on.